Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Shimmerz education team. And don't forget, you can get some free paint if you mention my name in the comments section of your order over at shimmerzpaints.com. And I'm going to start this layout with some white cardstock and a cut file. And I'm going to focus on this color today. This is Vibez Pink Moscato, and it is gorgeous. And if you are following the Shimmerz YouTube channel or the Shimmerz blog or Instagram, you'll see that this month with all of the design team, there is a challenge going on. And we each got to choose one color out of all the Shimmerz paints to focus on a project. And so I chose Pink Moscato. And what I'm doing here is I've got some white cardstock and I've got two different cut files already cut on it. And it's hard to see because it's white on white. But they're from Paige Evans, and I'll show them to you in a minute once I finish coloring them up. But this is just some plain white textured cardstock, and I'm smudging some clear gesso over it just to kind of strengthen it up and allow me to blend and smudge a few colors here. I only wind up using 4 colors, but the Pink Moscato is my main focus today, and you can see how pretty it is. It's this deep pink color, and since it's a Vibez, it's very vibrant and bold, and it's got some shimmery powders mixed in with it, and in this case it happens to be gold powders. And so when this dries, it's not only this gorgeous pink, but it's also going to have a gold shimmer to it. And so the cut files that I'm using are leafy because I kind of wanted this to have a fall vibe, and so I've got one cut file that's called Leaf Wreath, and then another one that's called Leaf Branch. Now, I do use a couple of other colors here. This is a color that I don't use very often. I don't tend to use browns a lot, but I really like the way this one looked mixed with the Pink Moscato. And it's a Spritz, and it's called Treasured Him, and it's a very, very pretty brown color with lots of shimmer to it. And when it dries, it's very, very pretty. So all I'm doing here is kind of showing you how you can take this bold Pink Moscato color and really soften it up. I wanted to use different shades of it and also mix it with a few colors here just to show you the variety that you can get. So I started out by just spraying it in a couple of places, and you can see how dark and bold it is. And then I just dipped my brush into a little bit of water and kind of spread it around, and of course it's going to lighten it up quite a bit. So you can get several different shades of one color just by adding water and kind of diluting it or thinning it out. And I'm just kind of haphazardly painting the cut files here before I peel it off the mat. And I am going to have 2 more colors here at some point once I choose my photo. I should have waited until this dried completely, but I'm impatient, and so I had to very carefully peel this off my mat. I'm using my little pokey tool here to kind of help it because it is still kind of soggy and it's very, very fragile. As you can see here, I've already pulled them off, and you can see how pretty they look. I love starting with white cardstock and just coloring it up. Now here's this photo. This was from, I think, 2011. My girls were so tiny, and I was trying to get them to, you know, get beside me so we could take a pretty photo in front of this nice azalea bush behind me. And you can see how it turned out. And so I just think it's hilarious because either one kid's looking this way or one's running away or one's photobombing. And so I think it's hilarious because that's just how most of our family photos go. And I like it because it was taken in the fall, but my older daughter, Reese, her shirt matches the Pink Moscato perfectly. And then in my other daughter, who's running away from me, her shirt is light blue. And so I thought I would play off of that color for the background. And this is a Creameez, and it's called Ride the Tide. And it is this beautiful soft blue, and it's going to give you a satiny finish. Now, I have not used any gesso on this background. This is a thick white cardstock by Basil. I think it's the marshmallow, so it's very smooth and it's pretty thick, and it can handle things like this. So I'm just using my brayer. I did this on a recent layout and really love how it turned out. You just roll it right through your paint and then roll it onto your cardstock there, and it's just going to kind of thin it out and smudge it around. And then I thought I would kind of soften up the edges because the brayer it gives you kind of a squared off look. So I pulled out a little bit of packaging to kind of soften up the edges and kind of add a little bit of more of a what's the word I'm looking for here, organic shape to the background. And a lot of this is going to get covered up with the wreath and the leaf branch, but I just use my brush there to add some blue splatters, and then I'm coming back in with the pink Moscato here to add some splatters. And so if you don't want to use gesso, or you don't have any gesso, or you don't want to buy gesso, maybe buy a brayer, because it's a great way to get color on your background, and you don't really need a lot of paint for it to cover a lot of space, because it's going to flatten it out and smush it around, and you get a really cool background effect. So I'm going to kind of create a wreath here, and off camera I decided to do some stitching for a little bit of background detail, and I actually have a thread that looks almost exactly like the pink Moscato. It's this really deep pink, and so I just made several messy circles, and it's just going to kind of peek through all the leaves and just give that extra little bit of detail down there. And since this cut file, or these cut files, are very intricate and fragile, I wanted to make sure that none of the little edges were torn, because you know, sometimes when you peel things off your cutting mat, sometimes your paper tears and you have to clean up some edges and things. So I just want to make sure that they're nice and clean. Now on the tiny wreath parts, there are lots of places where I did not punch out the tiny inside pieces of some of the leaves, because they're just so tiny that I felt like if I kept digging at it, that you know, I would rip some of the leaves apart. And so when you see the close-ups later on, you may see some of the little pieces not punched out, but not even a big deal. It doesn't bother me. So I'm going to embellish this design with lots of little floral pieces and other little bits from the Paige Evans Pick Me Up collection. I thought I would add in some florals that kind of coordinated with this deep pink color, and I decided to make the left side of the layout a little more heavy, or heavier, because I could tuck the photo kind of underneath the edge there, since there was just some open space on the photo. I'm going to use some fussy cut flowers here from this floral cluster paper, and then some of the chipboard pieces. And I really like the floral clusters that have some green in the leaves and some of that deep pink color and some kind of like a nude light peachy shade. And I didn't even use a nude peachy shade on the background, but I like how it looks with the pink Moscato and the treasured hem on the mixed media part. So I decided to add in a couple of other things. I'm just going through the chipboard here. There's several little hearts that match, and little pieces that coordinate by having the same color, or it just looked like the right little thing to use here and there. I'm going to tuck in some thread. I'm going to use light blue over here in a couple spots on the left, just to kind of echo that color that you can see a lot on the inside of the circle. Because I feel like, you know, since I'm trying to focus on the pink Moscato, I want that color to be the main color in this, but I do want to pull in some more of that light blue. And I really like how one of my favorite things to do is be inspired by my photo, and so I knew right away that I wanted to pull off, you know, pull from the color of both of their shirts, and so that's kind of what inspired me to go with this color scheme. And sometimes if you don't really know where to start with products or colors, or if you're going to make your own background or color some cut files like this, look at your photo. If it's a color photo, look at it and pull some colors from that to kind of get you started. And I think it helps draw your eye to the photo, and it just coordinates nicely. And I felt like there's green in the photo as well, and so the green in the leaves sort of pulls from that also. Now on the backs of these flowers that I fussy cut, I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive foam to create some dimension. And this layout actually has quite a bit of dimension already because of all those little leaf sprigs poking up. I didn't glue down you know, a lot of that. I just glued down little bits and pieces of it, and so most of it is going to sort of curl up and pop off the page, which I love. I know some people don't like dimension, and that is fine. I do, not two-dimensional, but, and you know, if I put this in an album, it's probably going to get smushed, but you can still tell that everything is not completely flat. Now I'm going to add in a rub-on here. This one says Every Little Thing, and then this is another page from Pick Me Up. And since this is a funny photo, I wanted to add this little LOL speech bubble. And because it is funny, when I look at it, it makes me laugh because, you know, it used to bother me when my kids were little. I wanted those perfect photos that it seems like everybody else gets. You know, everyone's kids are posed and they're smiling, and it's just the perfect photo. And it is, with both of my girls being autistic and nonverbal, it is next to impossible to get a perfect photo like that. And so I gave up on that a long time ago and just embrace these kind of photos because that's just how they are and that's how our life is. And it just makes me laugh because that's just their personalities, you know? And so I just decided to embrace it and go with it, and I'm going to play on that whole funny aspect of this. And that's why I wanted to add the LOL speech bubble. And then I'm going to make my title. Well, hang on, I'm ahead of myself here. I fussy cut that little scalloped piece from a border strip, or the little, the little border strip from one of the pattern papers, and it matched all those pink tones, and I added that underneath the photo. And then before I add my title, I added a strip of blue paper underneath the right side of the photo and some more blue thread over to the right of the photo. And then I'm going to use those white foam thickers from Pick Me Up for my title. And let me tell you what, I have gotten the most use out of those white thickers. They are so versatile. They're foam. They stick well. You can add color to them. They're amazing. I'm going to be very sad when I run out of those. But my title is going to be Every Single Time, because it seems like every single time we do a family photo, or I want both of them with me, this kind of thing happens. And every single time. Now I'm going to add in a couple more details here from the Pick Me Up collection. This is a little puffy sticker. It's a camera and it matched perfectly. And then just a couple other little bits and pieces here. Some more flowers, little floral cluster there. I tried to decide where to put that one. I move it around a few times. And I love how this is turning out. I love just sort of creating a background and creating the design by cut files that I custom color myself. This is why I love Shimmerz, because it's just, the colors are so gorgeous every time, and it just always seems to help the layout come together just the way I want it to. And it just happened to match all these goodies in the Pick Me Up collection. Added a little button there, another little plastic flower that matched, and then this is the last color that I incorporated into this layout, and this is the Inklingz Minor 49er. It is the most beautiful gold, and it's an Inklingz, and so when you get an Inklingz, it's going to be hard. It's in that little pot and it's hard, and so you have to add water to it and let it sit for a little bit, and then the paint will soften up and it will thicken up, and it's beautiful, and it's got the greatest gold shimmer. So I decided I needed a little bit of journaling, and I really didn't have any place to do it inside the circle, so I'm just going to do it over here on the right, and I used my gold metallic pen. But that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. You can really see the pink Moscato there and how it pulls into the photo, and then how light it is around the entire rest of the wreath. But here you can see all the shimmer from everything. I try to get the shimmer in the light as best that I can. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but I promise you it's gorgeous. These colors are very, very pretty. So I'm going to list all the colors, the 4 colors that I used below. They are all available in the Shimmerz store at shimmerzpaints.com. So let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.